What's going on? So this is an interesting one. Boys to Men on their second album wanted the songwriting production team Tim and Bob to produce their stuff. Now let me give you a track record about Tim and Bob. They worked with a lot of people, including Tamia. They worked with I just said yeah, it's gonna come back to me. Cisco, amongst others. They won 3 Grammys, 12 nominations. And the reason why I kind of paused there for a moment is because I was so busy thinking about who they work with. And I wanted to say Split Ends because they were from Illinois, they're from Peoria, and they definitely had an R. Kelly vibe. They were around that same time. They were out since '93. Anyway, they started hitting back then, and they were wanting Boyz II Men wanted them, but Gerald Busby, who was the label president at Motown at the time, said, "Nope, you got to have a name brand. So we have to enlist Babyface and Jam and Lewis." And "I'll Make Love to You" was the first single, which was a huge hit because it was the first cousin, second cousin, third cousin, brother, sister to End of the Road, which Babyface produced, wrote. So anyway, another jack of Tom Bales. But anyway, no, who's listening like that? But anyway, they weren't feeling it initially, but it was a huge hit. You remember Dwayne Martin was in the video playing the security in the video. Remember? Huge song. Couldn't do no wrong with the Boys to Men Babyface musical marriage. And then on Bended Knee with Jam and Lewis. So they didn't get their way. And it was kind of ironic because they kept the format with Babyface on some songs and some stuff, and they did a little bit of production and what have you. But it was interesting that Gerald Busby, because the record companies back in the day, you had to have the name brand or the sound. I don't care because they probably looked at them like they were a fluke. And let me say this too: if you weren't around then, you wouldn't even think about that today per se, because you don't have the same writers and producers. You don't have that kind of name brand situation today, because everybody can do it in their own basement or on their phone or in their yard. Back then, the cats that were carrying the weight were the name brands. So back then, you wanted to have the names to sell said projects. And especially when you had an act like Boyz II Men who went diamond. They were selling records out the chunk. Them first 2 records sold a chunk. So I remember when the Christmas record they did with Brian McKnight, that went really well. But End of the Road was it was so huge, they brought an EP out on it. That's back when the record companies would manipulate when you had compact disc, vinyl, cassette, you were selling it. And they were huge right there. They sold a chunk. That one song flipped their whole wigs, and then suddenly they was like, we gotta get Ruckus out on them. So you would think maybe you would get half of it because of the fact that um they had earned it, but now more comes one their investment, and they wanted the names to sell. That was because back then, if you didn't get Jam and Lewis, you had to get LA and Babyface. And if you were doing the street thing, you got Teddy Riley, but you had to get the main two. That's how it went down, and not including R. Kelly, who did his sense of dominance, and Devontae Swing, and I can name others. But you had to get Jam and Lewis or Allen Babyface and then Teddy Riley, and then you work your way to R. Kelly and Devontae Swing and so on. So that's kind of how it went. So, but Tim and Bob definitely paid their dues. They were very successful and had a distinctive sound that worked. So, would have been interesting. Now, does that Boyz II Men album sell like that without "I'll Make Love to You" on it or Bended Knee? That is the question we'll never know, because that Boyz II Men second album sold a chunk. So we'll never know. But I think Gerald Busby kind of knew what he was kind of doing, and they had a formula that worked. Those cats were to R&B music what Garth Brooks was to country in the 90s. They were selling by the truckload. Kid you not. Anyway, let me know what you think about that, though. Please hit like, subscribe, welcome thoughts, comments, and I do respond. Thank you. Wash your hands. Keep your mind clear. Watch out for another. Share it if you like, and hit that membership, because when you do requests like this come true, stay safe, stay blessed, stay focused, stay real, stay in it, stay on the grind, and stay woke about it. And interesting, I would have loved to have heard what that record would have sounded like if they had to work with Tim and Bob, because their vocals was on point. The question is, would it have been the money tracks, or would it have just been songs that have been hits? kind of like how their third and fourth album went, and when they kind of faded in the pasture. So maybe Gerald Busby knew that, hey, I better strike this match while the iron is hot because they're not going to be, those kind of hit makers for. Anyway, let me know what you think. I'm out.